given the discussion had at Select Committee, most members would agree with that.
The Honourable Paula Bennett.
Mr Chairman, I just want to take a call on Part 3, which, as the member has identified some of the parts to this part, some of the clauses to this part, but ultimately what we're doing is lower the age of the youngest dependent child from 6 to 5 for DPB sole parent recipients and partners of beneficiaries, so that they are available and getting themselves looking for part-time work at least. Lower the age of the youngest dependent child from 18 to 14 for the commencement of full-time work availability. That's quite new, and I mean obviously we've had a part-time work test for those youngest children at 6, and we're moving that to 5, which quite frankly still puts us at the lower end of the OECD as far as work testing for DPB mums. But the full-time work test for those with the youngest child of 14 is very new. So it's been 18 years forever, which has meant before National were in government last time that there was actually no work test at all for DPB mums until their youngest child was 18. So we've now moved that part-time work test to when their youngest is 5, but a full-time work test at 14. And what we occasionally hear from others and from opposition to this particular policy is that it's unfair, that they can't, that there's no possibility, and what would happen to their children. Looking at some of the facts of it's quite interesting in that actually for those that are 14, whose youngest child is 14 years plus, actually 68% of sole mothers currently work, 68%, and 83% are partnered. So the proof is kind of there that they can do it. It doesn't mean that there's always the right job available, hence that kind of suitability around work. But to say that it's not possible is simply not true. What we have done is made sure that we've put some clauses in, though, that accept that those that are coming on benefit in particular because of domestic violence incidences or because of a death or because of something that's been quite traumatic, that they are given due time to actually work their way through some of that. So it's not an instant work test, even if the youngest is over 5 or the for part-time or the youngest is 14 plus. We've taken some advice on that. We've given a level of discretion around it in particular. The other reality around it was when we really looked at it is that there is just so many individual circumstances. What work and income case managers in particular want more than anything is something that's very clear and very plain and very straightforward. We're giving them that, but we're also giving a degree of discretion and flexibility around it, recognising people's different circumstances. To the members' call around the insertion of an SOP which has that quality childcare, to say the least that I find it kind of sanctimonious and ridiculous would be an understatement. I mean, the reality is that the ECE and Childcare Act actually already has what quality childcare is. We have regulations around that, and we only actually subsidise to that. For parents not to have an actual say in what is childcare and what is suitable for their own children, because we feel it needs over-regulation, which is what we saw for so long, is actually what's half the problem with the cost blowout in the sector itself. The reality is that actually parents are very good at making informal and formal arrangements themselves. In fact, I challenge a mum or a dad in this house that has not actually had an arrangement of some description with their friends' parents where they've said, I'll pick up yours.
Sorry to interrupt the Honourable
Monday,
Minister.
Tuesday.
The time has come for me to report progress.
Wonderful progress.
The House is resumed. Mr Chairman.
Mr Speaker, the committee has considered the Dairy Industry Restructuring Bill and reports it with amendment. The committee has also considered the Social Security, Youth Support and Work Focus Amendment Bill and reports progress. Mr Speaker, I move that the report be adopted.
The question is that the report be adopted. Those of that opinion will say aye. Contrary, no. The ayes have it. The Dairy Industry Restructuring Amendment Bill is set down for third reading next sitting day, and the Social Security, Youth Support and Work Focus Amendment Bill is set down for further consideration in committee next sitting day. And the House now stands adjourned until 2 p.m. tomorrow.